I do workshops, facilitating workshops all over the world with mostly Japanese companies that are globalizing. I work with a team of people from here in Silicon Valley, also on the East Coast. We have team members in Europe, Singapore, Tokyo, and Australia. And we are this loose collection of independent consultants under the banner of Silicon Valley Alliances, which we were so delighted to have the help and support of Kim Wright and her team to get that more clear, like who are we and why are we working together? I love that the title was conscious contracts. I mean, conscious, can you imagine? Because the term contract is such a off-putting term for me. Legalese and stuff that nobody ever reads until they have to take you to court. And if you ever do have to use it, then it means you failed in your relationship. And so when I heard conscious contracts, I was intrigued. And then I wanted to hear more. I have gone to lawyers in the past to create contracts for my work with some of my Japanese work. I don't have to worry too much about contracts with Japanese because if you really don't ever need a contract with a Japanese company because they're going to do the right thing. But I have signed lots of contracts in my life and I always look at it. And I mean, with my publisher, for example, when I read what he said on his contract, I called him and I said, I don't want to sign this. It's horrible. And he said, oh, just scratch out whatever you don't like. So I scratched out a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was completely ridiculous. I'm like, I don't want to do business with someone who needs to put that in their contract. And then I signed it. But most people won't tell you that, right? You're not allowed to scratch out whatever you want on a contract. So that was my impression of contracts, is a whole bunch of stuff to cover people's butts in case of something that happens. And in the end, everyone's going to be unhappy with the result. We would have needed it about 3 years ago. See, that's one of the reasons I was so interested in the fact that you had a conflict resolution piece, because we have run into a few bumpy spots. You know, it was a big experiment. I started doing this work many years ago. I brought in a bunch of co-conspirators, and then we said, hey, let's create something called Silicon Valley Alliances. And we didn't really hammer out our working together agreements, which we would always do with our clients, right? But we didn't do it for ourselves. And then there were little misunderstandings or miscommunications. Now, we like to use the assumption of positive intent, but some people actually left the collaboration organization because of misunderstandings. And some people were kind of on the outs from the inner circle because of some of the behaviors. And I think we could have avoided that if we had this conflict resolution practices in place, which we could have said, hey guys, wait, time out, we're off track. Let's use our conflict resolution practices and let's get back on track. I really felt like we were driving the content of it and we were being led on an adventure, led on a journey. It's kind of shocking to all of us because here we are, we're all master facilitators. We're working in leadership and team effectiveness and organizational culture. And here we are saying, my God, you can't see the back of your own head. And we needed somebody who could see the back of our heads for us and tell us what was back there and then lead us forward together. It felt easy. It felt effortless. And it felt like we were putting into words and images what we always had a sense of, but it was too nebulous and ill-defined to really be able to grasp. I hung mine on the wall of my living room. Okay, so it's right where I mostly sit when I'm using my computer during the day. It's right up there on the mirror, destroying the whole ambiance of my living room because it's so important. Well, the thing is, it was actually incorporating our personalities into it. Like I use a rubber chicken a lot in my work. A rubber chicken, I know. But they actually, your team found a way to include the rubber chicken picture in the conscious contract. Now, what lawyer would do that, right? And it also looked visually appealing, and there was a sense of color scheme that attracted me. And it's not just some document that you would throw into your safe or file in your drawer. It's something actually appealing enough, useful enough, and enjoyable enough that you would want to hang it in your living room. Isn't that crazy?